Okay, my retirement coach is not a guru. It's actually a pottery show. So I watch a lot of BBC, ITV, Channel 4 shows because that's where I grew up, and I just like to connect sometimes with my Britishness. Um, and one of these shows is called The Great Pottery Throwdown. So, if you've ever seen the Bake Off show, it's it's similar to that, but it's with pottery. And I have become totally obsessed with this show. There are 9 seasons, and so we have been watching season 9 first and then working our way back through the seasons until the new season comes out. So, pottery, it's basically 12 amateur potters. So, some of them are teachers, some of them have been artists, some of them are engineers, some of them are in between jobs. They are range from all across the UK. There are people who have backgrounds from other countries who are immigrants to the UK. There are a vast variety of ages that are part of this process. But one thing they all love is pottery. And so the show has three main sort of hosts. Two of them are pottery experts. So there's Keith and there's a guy called Richard. And then there's Siobhan, who's like the comic relief, but she's also there, I think, as support for all the participants when they maybe don't get things exactly the way that they want them. And so the show really speaks to me. It's like it's not a guilty pleasure, it's just a pleasure because it has all the components of sort of intrigue and drama. And it has like, I think for me, like lots of lessons for me to think about the next chapter of my life. And so if I think about it, each week the potters get set a task by the experts that usually involves either a style of pottery or a particular like they had to build kitchen sinks one time. They had to build a full set for a coffee pot, coffee mugs, etc. They had to do a breakfast set. They've made light like the like a light bulb, not a light bulb. What am I talking about? Like the bottom of a lampshade. It's usually just plain. Well, they create all this amazing artwork on it. So they might do cutouts in the clay. And so there's a really creative, artistic side to this show that I love because I love seeing how different people approach exactly the same challenge that they've been given. And they're always really very different. So they get to do that. It's really important in clay work to like make sure that you're drying the clay appropriately. And so there's often a moment in the show where they have to get everything in the drying room and there's like a countdown and it's like you got to get there fast and some people maybe they miss something. And then there's a moment while those either get off to be fired and then they're going to glaze them and decorate them later. Or there's a drying and they just have to let it go. The next thing is the show has a second challenge. So two challenges that are then related to a skill in pottery. So it might be slab building, which is like taking big pieces of clay and slab building with those, or it's throwing a particular type of pot. And they even do ones where they have to put blindfolds on, take the clay, put it on the wheel. And if you've ever tried pottery, you know that that is not an easy task, even with your eyes. So they are really doing that by feel. And there's always a demonstration by the expert, either by Keith or Richard, in that space. And you can just tell the joy that they have for sharing their knowledge with this group of amateur potters. And it's sort of a joy to watch. It's like there are moments. I've probably cried more in this show than a lot of shows I've watched, um, primarily because the participants create this community really quickly, and the experts really are invested in their growth. And so you'll find moments where one of the participants will do something and Keith will just burst into tears because he's just so moved by what they have been able to do, like take in their imagination and then put it into this beautiful piece of artwork or beautiful piece of functional pottery that someone can use. So I've talked a lot about potting, right? So it's I just get so excited about it. I if you can watch it, I got to get it right. The Great Pottery Throwdown, because I always call it the Great Pottery Throwdown. Um, it's a simple show, but it's a really complex show as well as you start to watch it. The other thing that I noticed about the show, the second half, after they've done the second challenge, is that they get to look at their work under, it's hidden usually under a piece of hessian, and they get to open it up to see if there's any cracks or any faults that have happened while it's been fired in the kiln, because that is, it's intense heat and it can crack if there's like any weakness in the building of a pot or a sculpture that you're making. And it's sort of heartbreaking when it's too much of a crack and people are like, oh no, I can't do anything about it. But then sometimes there might be a crack, but in the decorating, so they get to use slips and oxides. And it's really interesting when you think about the slips and oxides are not the color they will be once they've been in the heat. And so people are painting with colors that they're imagining because they don't see the exact color right in that moment. And then once they've done with that there's a timeline on that, then they get to go to the firing again. And sometimes they do special types of firing, raku, which is like a really intense heat, and then like a cooling down with different thing. They put it in a box and basically burn other stuff around it, and it creates these amazing crackle effects um on the glazes of the pots. Sometimes they have to fire in a kiln that they've made themselves. So every time there's something a little bit different, but the formula is really the same. And I am amazed at the beautiful artwork, but I'm even more touched by the beautiful way that the potters support each other. So they're in a competition, but the only thing they win is a bunch of flowers and a pot that says they're the best potter. So each week someone gets eliminated, each week someone's Potter of the Week. But they're all so invested in each other's success that it's really a beautiful thing to think about. And as I watched this show, I realized that there's lots of lessons for me related to my retirement, my next chapter in my life. Um, and so I sort of really thought about these. I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget. So if I think about all the episodes I've watched, and we've watched a lot of episodes, is I recognize that there's some main themes for me that keep speaking to me, like keep saying, oh yeah, that's why it's important. That's why that's important for you. So the first one is really this importance of support and community. And so thinking about in the pottery show, I just described this amazing community that's built really quickly and fast. And I am thinking about sort of what's happening in this next phase of my life. And I have started this YouTube channel, and I have now a new group of people that are supporting me and giving me feedback. And I'm creating a community of creators who are also trying, just like me, to think about how they share their message with other people. And that's a different group for me. My group has always been the youth development field. It's always been around training and facilitation, and it's sort of a different lens. It's a different way to think about the work that I do and the way that I share things that were important to me and I think might be important to other people if they got to listen and hear them. And so I really, from this show, get this sense of how a community can really support each other to grow and be in competition. So think about YouTube, like we're all in competition. People are trying to get monetized. People are trying to get views and subscribers, but we're all supporting each other in that goal. And we're all willing enough to take time to give people feedback. And that is a space that we don't find very often. And I would really encourage you, if you are trying something new or you're about to take a bold move, that you find the community that supports you in that bold move, the community that will challenge you at the right level. That's exactly what I needed. Number two, it's really about, I notice on this show that people are taking on things that they've never done before, really hard pottery tasks, skills that they're using, and they are fully in, even when they don't think they can do it. And I sort of liken this to my high rocks journey. It's like the first one we did, Beth and I together, we knew we'd worked out. We knew that we had a level of fitness. We had a level of understanding how our bodies and pacing goes, but we did not know exactly what we were getting into until we completed the first one. And as we together start that journey for the second one, it's a different feeling. It's like it's still a little bit of it's going to be hard and there are hard things ahead and we have probably been training in a different way this time that will see different results. But taking on those hard things are the things that sort of push us to grow, or push me to grow. And this is what I just love about the show is like people are doing like really intense sculpting and engineering and understanding of the clay that they've never done before. And they just take it on. They take it on. It's unbelievable to me. The other thing is it's sort of tied to that. They take it on knowing that all the work that they do, everything that they do could blow up in the kiln. They have no control over what happens to that pot once it's glazed and in the kiln because they just have to let it go. And so they can have put all this beautiful, intense work into a piece for it to crack and fall apart, which on the show it does happen. Um, and still they celebrate with the experts what the beauty would have been. And I sort of think about this as I think about my retirement. I think about the things that I want to do and the coaching that I would like to do. Or this channel is like I have to be willing to jump into it, take it on, and let it go. It could fail. And I've had videos that have failed. They have had no views, and I have to sort of let that go and say, that's not about me. That's just what's happening right now. It didn't resonate. It's okay. And I hope for all of you that are watching this that there are moments where you can be full in, even if you don't know what you're doing, and be okay if it blows up in the kiln. And I really think about this in terms of, I do a lot of trainings and I put a lot into the creative side of it to make sure that people have an experience that they never had with me before if they've been to a training of mine before. I'm always trying at least one new activity or one new strategy that I'm teaching. And sometimes those just don't hit. They don't. they don't work. And it took me a long time to get to the point where I'm like, okay, it didn't work. Let me think about what didn't work and let's think about what the next thing is. What can I try differently? It doesn't mean I throw it all out. So I'm guessing that these potters that are on the show, if they've had a kiln blow up and the piece that they did broke, that they're going to try that again because they know that the actual activity, the process of making this thing is the thing that fueled them, not necessarily the end outcome. I mean, of course, we work towards our goals but maybe the journey is equally as important as what's right at the end. Um, Last one, no, I got two more. One more is this idea of celebrating the journey. So I just sort of really said that is like the journey for these potters is not just about what they're able to create or what they've learned, but it's about the community and the relationships. And they always end this show like doing a follow-up, like where are people now? What are they doing? And all of them at some point have had another connection with the people that they met on this show. And so I think about that is that the journey that I take as I move into my retirement, I want to be connected to other people and make sure that that is as important in the journey as it is to the end result, whatever that might be that I'm working towards. Um, I think the other thing is that when they work with different types of clay, they need a different type of technique. And I was thinking about it's like there are lots of techniques that have worked for me and things that um, bring me lots of joy and peace and make me feel comfortable. But I'm wondering as I move into retirement if there might be some other techniques that I've not tried or I might need to employ to be able to like move forward and get together with that. So this is my guilty pleasure. It is my retirement guru. I don't need a coach around my retirement. I watch the Pottery Show. And I hope that whatever bold moves are in your next chapter, that you're ready for them and that you're willing to do it, even if you don't know what the end result is going to be. I'm off to try my next thing, and I'll see you in the next one.